Hey, hello everyone. Hope you're doing well. This is kind of our first assignment in this online learning mode, and yeah, we just have a few things to maybe go over. So, some goals we have for this particular lesson. First, I just want to get you used to this program called Delta Math. So, if you're not there yet, just realize that at some point you'll be making an account for this. You'll have the option of seeing things in the view that you have on the right side of your screen right now, but your particular assignment will be set up where as long as you click on the assignment, it's going to take you to the questions that I want you to work through. While you're working on the questions, it's okay if you get things wrong. Just realize that I'm asking that you get a certain number right in each category, so you can always keep trying things. As you try questions, you're going to have the option of seeing an example problem and seeing all the work kind of laid out for you. For most of these, you'll also have an example video that you could watch if you wanted to. I hope to kind of make some of my own videos as we go through and do this, so more than likely you'll also have some examples from me as we do this too. Sorry, I messed around with this. Let's see here. There we go. Oh, I lost my train of thought here. Oh, while you're doing these assignments, I also want you to be putting your work down on a piece of paper. And then eventually you're going to be taking a picture of that work. You're going to be submitting that picture to Google Classroom. And I'll be able to look at that and just write on top of that and give you some feedback. So go back to that assignment and look for that feedback as well. So again, for today, it's just kind of a day to get used to some things. We're actually going to go way back to first semester and talk about functions and what they are. So I'm gonna. We've looked at absolute value. Maybe we didn't look at that early in first semester, but we certainly have looked at it since then. And if I were to just pick a typical problem for absolute value, they may give me something like this. I don't know if I like that one. So if we're looking at this problem here, your view is going to look a little different. You won't be able to see a solution for the problem, but you'll be able to see an example problem somewhere up here. Okay, so you could click on that example problem. It would be something that was somewhat similar to what we had right here, and it would write out all the steps. You also have the option of watching a video that goes through a typical example. Okay, I'm not a particular fan of that one, so we'll move on to this one. So here's what I would want to see on your work, and maybe just a quick reminder here. It says determine the value of y if x is -2, and then we have the equation below. Just remember that in first semester we may have written that instead of y, maybe we would have said f of x equals the absolute value of x minus 11. So we could also be thinking about it that way, just this particular program is just going to keep calling it y. But the idea is you don't necessarily have to show what I just put up there. This is just kind of optional, just kind of review. But what I would want to see is something like this. You'd say, well, I have y equals, it's going to be the absolute value of -2, right? I'm putting a -2 in for the x, minus 11. I want to see that on your paper when you turn it in. Okay, I want to see what you did with it. Well, the -2 in absolute value is going to become positive. And then overall, I get an answer of -9. Okay, and that's my answer for that particular question. So I would kind of write that down. I would pause the video if you need to, and just kind of shorthand this sort of a question, perhaps, and then show all the work that's on the left side of the screen. Okay, we could do this with quadratics. So if we look at something like this, okay, we have, again, determine the value of y. For this quadratic down here, but now x is -10. So I'm going to quickly just get some more room here. Okay, so for this one, maybe what I'd want you to show is something like this. You'd say, I want to figure out what y is. Okay, but now I know the x value is a -10. Plus 7. I'm going to square it, so I'm just kind of copying everything down, but I'm putting something in place of the x. Okay, I need to follow PEMDAS, so I'm going to do the things that are in the parentheses first. So I'm going to have -10 plus 7, that's -3. And I need to square it, and that gives me an answer of 9. But I want to see all of that work again. That's important to me, and that's important for what we're going to do down the road. So you need to show that sort of work when we're using this program. You have to do that on your paper, and then you're going to be submitting that through through Google Classroom so that I can look back and see what you did. Okay, and the last sort of question, we'll look at square roots. Now, we may not get into a whole lot of square roots by the end of the year. It's something that we might get to. I'm not necessarily sure, but we can still practice it. So I'm gonna pick a question from there. So again, up here you would see an example problem. Here's your help video, and then we're looking at the actual problem. We say x is 25. Let's figure out what y is. So on your paper, you would see, or you would write something like y equals square root of x. Well, now it's going to be square root of 25, okay, minus 3. Okay, that's going to get me 5 minus 3, which is 2. Okay, but I want to see that work. And I would also challenge you as you're doing this, even if this seems super easy, to actually like click on the example problem that's at the top, or click on a help video and just kind of watch that for a little bit and get a sense of what this program offers. Because when we get into new things, this will be a lot more difficult, and you want to maybe kind of check some of the options that you have available here. And I also just want to give you time in the next day or so just to practice turning things in on Google Classroom. I want to actually look through your assignment. I want to give you some time to look at the feedback that I might write on there. I just want to get used to this new system. If we only end up using it for these next 2 weeks, so be it. If we're back in the classroom, that would be fantastic. But if we're kind of doing this more long term, this is kind of an easy start to this, and I just want to make sure that you're feeling comfortable. So make sure you have written down some good notes somewhere that you can refer back to, and realize you have a lot of help within this program as well.